When it comes to preparing TAs for the classroom, there are two things we need to think about. First is training. Second is providing sufficient time in which teachers and TAs can meet to talk about lesson preparation and feedback. Both of these are important. Both of these contribute to TAs having the maximum impact possible on the students with whom they're working. If you were going to identify 3 teaching and learning topics which you think it'd be really good for a school to give their TAs training on those topics, what would they be?
I think I would focus first of all on the interactions stuff, so the way in which TAs can have more effective interactions with children, so they're prioritising building the children's independence rather than unintentionally encouraging or allowing dependence. So certainly something around that. Questioning as well, so what makes for an effective question? When should we ask the questions? When should we use higher order questions or open questions, and when closed-ended questions are more appropriate? And perhaps the other would be around managing groups as well. Certainly the way in which TAs manage groups to allow groups to work together in collaborative ways to facilitate people's own learning from one another might be something where we could see some benefits.
Diane, you've helped a lot of schools improve their TA practices. What ways have you seen that schools have enabled TAs and teachers to work better together so they're both better prepared for lessons?
I think the schools have had a close look at timetable, and they've had a close look at resource, and they've been quite creative in the way that they've built in time, quality time on a regular basis. It doesn't need to be long lengths of time. So some schools have increased their teaching assistants' hours so that they can come in a little bit earlier and meet with the teacher in the morning. Some schools have changed their assembly time so that non-contact time happens the same part of the morning so that teachers and teaching assistants can get together then. Some schools have built in time at the end of the day. Some schools have built in what they've called same-day intervention, where a lesson's taught, then the teaching assistant and TA get together in assembly time, and then they build in teaching time in the afternoon to narrow any gaps of children that had misconceptions. They've done it in different ways depending on what resource and people's working hours, but they have had to find time to do that, to do it well.
So do you think the aim for a school is to find some way to create an opportunity for continuous dialogue between the teacher and the TA?
Yes, it's continuous dialogue about what are we expecting the children to learn in this lesson, what progress are we expecting them to make, how are we going to evaluate their progress. Then conversations happening during the lessons of the teaching assistant and the TA and the teacher in the classroom at the same time. We've seen them having conversations whilst the children are involved in their learning, and then time at the end of the lesson for feedback and evaluation.
As TA deployment changes in a school, so it becomes easier to have dedicated time in which lesson preparation is the focus for all the TAs. This, in turn, greatly increases the likelihood that those TAs will have a positive impact on all the children they work with, at the same time as it increases their confidence and makes them feel better supported as well. What changes do you see happening in your school to ensure TAs and teachers have the time together that they need? And what impacts do you think this might have?